Before you quit, give me 7 minutes. Now, I don't know what you might be thinking about quitting today, whether it's a relationship, a business, or even yourself. But what I can say is that some of the biggest and best breakthroughs that's ever happened to me, they nearly didn't happen because I almost quit too. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Locke. I'm a TEDx speaker and a confidence coach. And for many, many years, I had that dream of being a TEDx speaker. And I told a mentor of mine that I wanted to do a TEDx talk, and he said to me, "I like it, Ricky, but you do know that if you put the talk out there, it's on the internet forever." Now, to this day, it's one of the best pieces of feedback I ever received. It's a neutral piece of feedback. There's no right or wrong answer with that. But I took it the wrong way. I completely thought, right, I'm not ready. Yeah, maybe he's right. Yeah, I'm not ready to do this. But I believe that if you really want to achieve something, W. Clement Stone has a wonderful phrase, which is, if you tell enough people about what it is that you want, then more people will help you achieve it. So I still continue with that idea, and at the time I nearly quit and thought, well, I'm not going to bother doing it, but it was still in the back of my mind, and I thought, I'm still going to talk about this idea. I started telling people more about it, didn't really do anything about it for a couple of years. But then a couple of years later, another mentor of mine said to me, "Ricky, you've done a TEDx talk, haven't you?" And I said, no, I wanted to do a couple of years ago, but I got a piece of feedback and thought maybe it's not for me. And he said, "Oh, right, I thought you'd already done one. I think you should do one." And I went, "Really?" He said, yeah, you're so ready for it." I went, "Oh, no way." Now, a long story short, a couple of years later, I actually achieved that big goal, and I achieved that in 2025. And I'm so grateful for doing that experience. But the point why I'm trying to tell you this story is that sometimes we get to a point in our lives, in our business, maybe in a relationship, or even with ourselves, that we feel like quitting. And sometimes we can just be inches away from actually achieving what it is that we want to achieve. Now, yes, in hindsight, I'm so pleased that I didn't do that TEDx talk back then, because if I did, it wouldn't be very good at all. But I had a crazy idea, but I kept with it. I kept focusing on it. I kept working hard on it. And eventually, through the conversations and telling more people about it, telling enough people in the world, more people started to open those doors to help me. And it's a success principle that I'm taught through my training as a Jack Canfield Certified Success Principles Trainer, which is called Ask, Ask, Ask. And this principle could help transform your life if you are thinking about quitting right now. There's a lovely lady called Marquita Andrews. And Marquita Andrews was one of the most successful Girl Scouts of all time. And when she was about 7 or 8 years old, when she first joined the Girl Scouts, she sold 7,500 Girl Scout cookie boxes. So if you're watching in the UK, that would be the equivalent of the brownies. And that's where they would knock on people's doors and say, "Hey, would you like to buy some cookies of ours?" She got so successful at selling Girl Scout cookies that eventually she wrote a book called How to Sell More Computers, Cadillacs, Convertibles and Cookies, which is all about selling. She then gets invited many years later to Radio City Music Hall in New York to deliver a presentation. She's delivering a presentation for some very wealthy people in this room. These are people that have sold over millions of pounds worth of commission. Midway through her talk, she says to everybody, "Everybody, I want you to look underneath your chairs, and I want you to find a piece of card, and there's a pen, and I want you to write down on that piece of card a number between 5 and 10. She says, "Hold it up." They all hold it up. And as they hold it up, she says, "Whatever number you've just wrote on that card, that's how many Girl Scout cookie boxes I want you to buy from me when you meet me in the corridor after my talk." And that night she sold about 2,000 boxes. Isn't that amazing? Now, the reason that we tell you this story is this. Why is it that she sold so many cookies that night? It's because she asked. And this is the principle of ask, ask, ask. There are about 8 billion people in this world, and someone has probably already done what it is that you are trying to achieve. And maybe we can tap into that potential and start asking these people to help us. Because when we're at this point where we think we are going to quit, we've had enough. You're pushing out those YouTube videos. I'm making YouTube videos at the minute on a daily basis, and they're getting 5, 6 views, and that's really incredibly frustrating. And this week alone, I've almost quit my YouTube. But what I've started to realize is using that success principle of there's 8 billion people out in this world. Someone's already done what it is that I'm trying to achieve. And if I could find out and allocate and put some resources into asking those people, then surely they'll be able to help me out too. And I'm wondering, for anyone out there, if you're watching this video, if you're thinking about quitting right now, don't quit. You could just be seconds, even inches away from achieving what it is that you're trying to achieve. But if you are having a moment where it's incredibly difficult, who is someone that you know that you could arrange a conversation with? So someone that I reached out to who's now become a really good friend of mine is an author called Paul McGee. And I identified him as a person that has a really great successful company doing the similar stuff to me. And I really liked him. He came on my podcast a couple of years ago. And I reached out to him and said, hey, Paul, I was wondering, you've kind of already done what it is I'm trying to do. You're probably about 30 years ahead of me. I'm wondering, what would it take to spend the day with you? I'd love to learn from you. And that one question of asking for help completely transformed everything. And it became such a great relationship that I now get on with Paul really, really well. I get to share ideas with him. We have a great WhatsApp channel where we can share ideas. And he even attended my TEDx talk, which was just incredible. So the point of everything I'm trying to say is this. If you are thinking about quitting right now, don't. Take a moment to take it all in. And if you are exhausted or burnt out because of everything you're trying really hard and you're not getting the same results, why don't you try the success principle of ask, ask, ask? Because there are 8 billion people out in this world that I'm sure have probably already done what it is that you are trying to achieve. Maybe you could send a little conversation, a little email, a little text message. Hey, what would it take to spend the day with you? Because just like I did with my TED Talk, I kept talking about ideas, I kept asking people for help. That's completely transformed my life, purely because I asked. So if you are watching this video, and for yourself right now, if confidence or self-esteem is something that is stopping you and making you think about quitting, then I have a free guide down in the description that you can download to help you with your confidence. But good luck and don't quit. See you soon.